Hi, good morning. We're here with Gareth Fawke from Westwood Capital Finance in Beverley. How you doing, Gareth?
Very well, Mike. How are you?
Yeah, really well, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us today. So if you'd like to kick things off and tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and how long you've been doing it for, please.
Yeah, so my name's Gareth Fawke. I'm Managing Director of Westwood Capital Finance in Beverley in East Yorkshire. We are a short-term bridging finance company. We've been trading since the 1st of September 22, so a relatively new business. But I've been in business probably for about the last 11 and a half, 12 years in invoice finance, bridging finance, and working around the finance markets.
Brilliant. A really, really new business. Obviously, starting in September 22, there must have been a fair bit of planning. I'm assuming that you can do tell us on that. And we like to ask everybody who comes on, does an interview about the impact of COVID for them and potentially their business. So was it something that you were planning throughout COVID? What was the biggest impact of it for you guys?
No, it wasn't. No, not at all. So I was a previous owner of another bridging firm, and so was my business partner. Ran a number of sort of high net worth individual sort of family office style lending, and we noticed that throughout the COVID period, bridging finance, certainly coming out of COVID, was becoming more popular. Purely and simply because the property market was moving so quickly. Everybody had been sat indoors for 2 years. The property market was shifting, or people were looking to sell buy to lets or move on, or there was other people looking to invest, and there was a big activity in the market space. But also throughout that period, the COVID period, investment cash had become a little bit more plentiful. A lot more individuals wanted to deploy cash into secured finance, but also the price of bridging finance had plummeted quite a lot. So there was an opportunity through our contacts to set up a fund, a private capital fund for individuals to invest into, for us to put into secured finance deals, so that be backed predominantly by property assets, whether that be commercial or residential. And it wasn't something that we planned throughout COVID. As I said, we both had different businesses. We were both working hard to keep the wheels moving at that point. But we both decided to come together and set up Westwood Capital through essentially some of the issues that had happened because of COVID.
Yeah, thank you. So it's kind of you've got a business born out of the consequences of COVID. Has there been any actions because of the way that working changed within the time? Obviously, there was lockdowns and stuff like that. You've adapted as a business to kind of move forward. So it might be as simple as working from home, technology, stuff like that, or any sort of ways that you can share on, how you've changed the way you're working in the business.
Yeah, I think COVID definitely has, and it'll probably be a generational thing, I would think, because never before would anybody plan for maybe not doing any work, for not necessarily not doing any work, but certainly not generating any revenue for a parcel.
Yeah.
Or would I mean, even my father, would he have ever thought that there was going to be a period where what he did for a living wouldn't trade for 3 or 4, maybe 5, 6 months? So I think that's always been at the back of our minds. One of the things, we have an office here in Beverley where people can come to work, but we've now just put our offer out for our second member of staff. And I think what's important is, they want to work from home now. And actually what I have noticed is we get a lot more work out of our staff members. They work really, really hard because, we can be flexible.
Mm-hmm.
Can give them that. So the way that we set the business up when we set it up was to have the correct IT. So, whether that be the correct IT at home for me, my business partner and the staff, or whether it just be in the office, so that we are mobile, so that we can work anywhere. I also think that, from our point of view is when we're assessing cases, bearing in mind we're lending money against secured assets, is that if we're doing cash flow lends secured against property, we might actually look at how secure this business is. Does it have any cash in the bank? What if it can't, or as a country, as a nation, we can't trade for 4 or 5 months? So I think the way that we're underwriting deals, the way that we are working, it's definitely been affected by COVID, and not necessarily just in an operational way, but it's probably something that'll last with us as a generation for quite some time. Standing around that.
Yeah, not taking things for granted as they were kind of pre-COVID. That was a big lesson, I think. So what does the future look like for you guys? What do you see as the main challenges going ahead in your business?
Yeah, so we've been really busy. We opened the doors on the 1st of September, and we never expected it to get as busy as it has gotten. And we were, we expected. I think where we are now, we started the 1st of September. We're on the 12th of January as we start talking to you. We have 2 employees, and that really wasn't the plan. That's probably put us a couple of years ahead of where we've gone. I think the bridging finance market is very buoyant. We have a lot of good quality contacts that we work with, and we've, as a business, probably booked a trend for a lot of the marketplace. However, where does that leave us? I think our plans for the next sort of 12 months were pretty much scrapped after about end of October, and we've way exceeded them already. So we've got a busy period ahead. The marketplace is moving, property is moving, investment properties are, from what we can see anyway, and it's really buoyant. So I think the next 12 months will be one of just a, shall we say, a hockey stick growth for us. We are in our first year. Our challenges are the exit strategies for our loans. So when we look at a case, that's our biggest challenge. Is we have, does the client have the affordability for the loan? Do they have the security for the loan? But more importantly, do they have the exit? Now, that is not something that we control. We cannot control that, and I think that the interest rate has increased tremendously. Buy-to-let mortgages, commercial mortgages are not plentiful like they used to be. I think they will come back. So I think our biggest challenge is ensuring that our exits for our loans are realistic.
Sure. Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that. Good feedback there. So just kind of moving on to yourself as a business owner, share your lesson. If there's one that you could pick throughout your experiences to date, what would that be?
That's a really good one. I think communication.
Yeah.
Learning good quality communication with our clients, with staff, with stakeholders, with anybody who's involved in the business. For us as well, with investors and some of our high net worth individuals who lend us the cash that we invest for them. So I think, if, and I've seen it, email is a wonderful tool, and it can speed up the process fantastically, but it can also be taken very, very wrong. So I'm still, and I still try to instill, the people who we work with us and work for us, pick up the phone and let's have a chat, because I think if we can communicate, the amount of times where I see a deal, it comes in, loads and loads of paperwork, it looks fantastic. And the first thing I do is pick up the phone, speak to the client, because actually 9 times out of 10, it looks nothing like what somebody's introduced it as. And by the time we've come out the backside of it, and a great example of that, I was dealing with a broker about a deal which hopefully we're going to write, and he'd been let down at the last minute by a lender. And actually, we must have spent, I don't know, an hour and a half on the phone just kicking ideas around. And actually, we came to a pretty good resolution for the client. And I think if you can have that ability to talk to each other and communicate with each other effectively, you can do that. And I think at the beginning of my career, a long time ago, when it wasn't in the financial markets, sending out emails and trying to get things done like that, you thought you were being efficient. Actually, a lot gets lost in translation with emails and post and anything, but really, and if you can get in front of somebody, you can do even better again. And I think, going back to our previous comments about COVID, that's something that I think COVID has affected massively, is face-to-face meetings.
Yeah.
Exactly how we're doing now through Zoom, which is fantastic tool, and I'd much rather be doing this than a telephone call. But I think, it has stopped people. Everyone's looking for this ultimate efficiency, which means, don't have to get in the car, don't have to drive. I can tell by the amount of miles that I haven't put on my car in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But I think it is really, really important to keep that communication flowing.
Yeah, definitely. Clarity is key.
Absolutely.
Maintaining a balance that is right for what you do in your organization, really, to get that efficiency. Cool. Good share. Thank you very much for that. So what would be the best piece of advice you could give to someone starting out in business, or perhaps even reflecting back to yourself maybe at 18 and saying, here's a piece of advice for you for starting out?
I think for somebody who's starting out, I think there's two things. I mean, if you take it back to when I was 18, it's as simple as hard work. Work hard and put yourself in the right position. Is the only thing I can really think of. The amount of people who I see who aren't willing to put in those hours, aren't willing to go above and beyond. I think that is something that that is really important. And I guess if you're starting your own business, you're willing to put in the hours, you're willing to put in the time, you're willing to maybe not take a wage for a certain amount of time, maybe not be used to have the home comforts you had when you were employed. So I think that's something that's quite important. But I think something that else is really important is the sales aspect of any business. Make sure you've got a good sales plan. I think that's the sales element of any business is the lifeblood. Make sure you've got a good sales plan. Make sure you know where your business is coming from. I think you can pretty much look after anything else within a business if you've got the knowledge. And if you don't, bring on a professional, use an accountant, use an action coach, use somebody who can help you. But I think the business starts essentially with its sales, and you need a good sales plan.
Yes, thank you. So what inspires you to do what you do? It could be people that you work with, your team members, that you got two on board. It could be things that you read, anything an inspiration level that's worth sharing.
Well, it's quite interesting because I guess probably like most people, you fall into something and then it gathers speed, and then before you know it, you're doing something that I don't think everybody sits there at I've got two sons and a daughter, and they're sat there, and my daughter is probably is the oldest at 10. She certainly doesn't sit there. I want to be going to bridging finance, Dad. How do you recommend I do with that? Or I don't think everyone sits there and goes, I'd love to be an accountant. So I think half of it is good luck, half of it is good fortune, and the other half is hard work. I enjoy. I think the biggest thing is what inspires me to do what I do is I enjoy it. If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. And one of the reasons why Darren and I set this business up is because there was a niche in the market. We enjoyed working together. We had a different relationship, a working relationship previously, and it was very much we enjoy what we do. We enjoy working together. We think we can deliver something that the market's missing. And that was really the inspiring moment for us, really, and certainly for myself.
Great, thank you for that. It's quite often, sometimes it's the underlying sort of activities that you do. It doesn't matter necessarily what specifically it is, as in the sector. It can do, but it's that kind of buzz that you get from doing the work that you do, connecting with people, communicating with people. Growth in your business, growth in yourself, however kind of that is framed, whatever that's framed around. Thank you for that. So lastly, is there any latest news around your business that you'd like to share, even if it's just sharing the website and telling us where to go to find out more about you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can find us at westwoodcf.co.uk. You can have a look at the products on there. We've got a new broker manager client manager starting with us on the 6th of March. So that'll be fantastic, because that'll give a little bit more attention to some of our key partners and help them get them on. Far from that is we're growing our finance book currently. We have obviously relatively large aspirations, and that seems to be going well so far. I think our base products, our bridging products are very competitive at the moment, and I think as that grows, as our network, as I start to re-engage with a lot of our network, they'll start to see, they'll start to see sort of price-wise where we are. So it's going to be an exciting 12 months.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Gareth. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and I hope it goes from strength to strength for you over the next few years.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate your time.